Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Antika Putri from Business Study Education Program, the Faculty of Economic, Universitas Negeri, Jakarta. I would like to thank you for coming to my presentation, especially to my Honorable Coordinator Business Study Education Program, Mrs. Terrylina MBA, my first supervisor, Mr. Dr. Nurdin Hidayat, MMMSI, my second supervisor, Mrs. Terrylina, Arvinta, Monoarfa, SAMM, my examiners who will examine my presentation seminar today, such as Chief Examiner, Mrs. Dr. Yohana MM, Expert Examiner, Mrs. Rina Parlina MBA, Secretary, Mrs. Nadia Fadila, FSPD, MPD. Thank you very much for taking to the time to my examiners today. Okay, today I will present a Skripsi entitled Analysis Effect of Attitude, Subjective Norms, and Perceived Behavior Control of Entrepreneur Intention on Universitas Negeri Jakarta student. In this presentation, there are two things that I will present, which are: the first is research and discussion that includes respondent profile, depth profile, normality test, linearity test, equation of multiple linear regression, research hypothesis test, and testing the confidence of determination. And the second is closing that includes conclusion, implication, and suggestion. The first, research and discussion, respondent profile. In study research involved 135 respondents by age, the criteria of 18 to 21 years, as many 56 respondents, and the criteria 22 to 25 years, as many 79 respondents. Next, the respondents come from various faculties, composed of the Faculty of Education, as many as 7 respondents, Language and Arts, as many as 13 respondents, Mathematics and Sciences, as many as 5 respondents, Social Science, as many 2 respondents, Engineering and Sport Science, as many as 3 respondents, Economic, as many as 98, and Psychology Education, as many as 4 respondents. Data profile, based on entrepreneur intention data, have a low score is 25 and the highest score is 48. Based on the attitude data, have a low score is 12 and highest score is 35. Based on the subjective norm, data have the low score is 25 and the highest score is 48. And based on the perceived behavior control data, have the low score is 12 and the highest score is 35. Normality test. Based on the result of test calculation, Kolmogorov-Smirnov using SPSS software version 22, it can be concluded that all 4 variables are distribution normally, that significance of the 4 variables is more than 0 of the 5 zero commons. Linearity test 1. Based on the calculation of linearity test in linearity decide, it can be concluded that attitude to entrepreneur intention has a linear influence. And 2. Based on the calculate of linearity test in linearity decide, it can be concluded that subjective norms to entrepreneur intention has a linear influence. 3. Based on the calculation of linearity test in linearity decide, it can be concluded that perceived behavior control to entrepreneur intention has a linear influence. Equation of multiple linear regression. Based on data, the multiple linear regression can be obtained as follow weight actions equal to 80.882 plus 0.327 for x1 plus 0.339 for x2 plus 0.348 for x3. Research hypothesis test. The research of the simultaneously significant test table obtained the V count value is 55.919. Since V counts 55.919 is greater than 2.67 V table, it can be concluded attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavior control simultaneously influence entrepreneur intention. Partial significant test table obtained the T account from attitude by 50.803 is greater than T table equal 1.656. Can conclude the confiance is significant, which meaning 3 is a positive influence attitude to entrepreneur intention. Meanwhile, the research of the partial significant test table obtained the T account from subjective norm by 6.77 is greater than T table equal 1.656. Can conclude that confluence is significant, which meaning 3 is a positive influence subjective norms to entrepreneur intention. And the research of the partial significant test table obtained the T account from perceived behavior control by 6.319 is greater than T table equal 1.656. Can conclude that confluence is significant, which meaning 3 is a positive influence perceived behavior control to the entrepreneur intention. Testing person correlation analysis attitude to entrepreneur intention of 0.522, which means the level of influence between the attitude and the entrepreneur intention has a significant correlation. Subjective norms to the entrepreneur intention of 0.532, which means the level of influence between the subjective norms on the entrepreneur intention has a significant correlation. Perceived behavior control to the entrepreneur intention of 0.482, which means the level of influence between the perceived behavior control and the entrepreneur intention has a significant correlation. Testing the confidence of determination. 1. The R-square value was obtained 0.227. It's explained that there is an influence attitude variables to the entrepreneur intention, 27.2% comments. As for the rest are influenced by other variables that is outside the attitude variable. Next, the R-square value was obtained 0.283. It explained that 3 is an influence subjective norms variables to the entrepreneur intention variables of 28.3% comments. As for the rest are influenced by other variables that is outside the subjective norms variables. Next, the R-square value was obtained 0.232. It explained that 3 is an influence perceived behavior control variable to the entrepreneur intention of 23.2% comments. As for the rest are influenced by other variable that is outside the perceived behavior control variable. The second classing. 1. Conclusion. There is a positive and significant effect of attitude on entrepreneur intention on Universitas Negeri Jakarta students is 27.2%. The remaining 72.80% is influenced by other variable not examined. The positive and significant influence of subjective norms on entrepreneur intention in Universitas Negeri Jakarta student is 28.3%, while the remaining 71.7% is influenced by other variable not examined. And the last is the positive and significant influence of perceived behavior control on entrepreneur intention on Universitas Negeri Jakarta student is 23.2%, while the remaining 76.8% is influenced by other variable not examined. 2. Implication. The things that needs to be done by entrepreneur is to pay more attention to low indicator and make improvement for the future, will maintain the indicator that have the highest score. 3. Suggestion. Open other factor that can increase entrepreneur intention and equals response in each faculty. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.